Uganda Revenue Authority collects over 15 trillion shillings each financial year. This minus non-tax revenue NTR. However, against these findings, the Kampala Traders Association contributes a third of the 15 trillion shillings collected by URA.
According to the latest release, the traders are paying 42% of the total tax which is collected by URA. So we are a very big stakeholder in the tax arena, and we are contributing a sizable amount of money to the coffers of the government.
With this observation, the Association of Traders is baffled with the current strides by MPs to exempt themselves from paying taxes.
We are also concerned that we have our brothers out there who are reluctant to pay taxes. Again, we see that the burden will be shifted back to us, because willy-nilly this money must be spent. The essentials must be provided. Government must continue providing the services, and even the emoluments which they are getting as members of parliament, again, these are collections from the taxes. So if they are not living by example, it will be very dangerous. We believe that sincerely we all have to contribute towards the tax collection, and finally when it comes to distribution, we enjoy the services as provided.
Members of Parliament in Uganda altogether earn 57 billion shillings, this minus 103 million shillings to each MP from the taxpayers' money to see for their transport, in addition to 2.6 million shillings for each MP per month. However, a breakdown of what a Ugandan MP is entitled for indicates that he or she gets a salary of 15 million shillings, which is equivalent to $6,100. Assistance allowance for each MP is 4.5 million shillings. Constituency allowances varies on mileage. The least is 3.8 million shillings. Extra constituency allowance is 2.5 million shillings. Town running allowance is 1 million shillings. Mobilization for ex-official members is 5.4 million shillings. Medical, on average, 200,000 shillings. And gratuity is 3.5 million shillings. Note that the amount of the allowances was paid based on a 2011 report, of which they may have increased over the years. A 2014 report also mentioned that elected MPs take home 18 million shillings each per month.
It is very dangerous for somebody who is in a higher income bracket to try to evade the taxes, and with the vulnerable and who are getting less, which is not even where we are not even assured of this money that is of our earnings. We are not so sure that we shall earn the next meal. Then you think we should be the ones to carry the entire burden. So let them live by example, and these egocentric tendencies which are encroaching in them, they should avoid them as much as possible.
The Kampala Traders Association next worry is the cost of administration. Our investigations into Uganda's cost of administration indicates that the Uganda government operates with more than 27 cabinet ministers, 375 members of parliament, 278 political appointees, who include 80 district residence commissioners and assistants, 75 presidential advisors, and 43 private presidential secretaries and their deputies, and many others. A further breakdown to local government administrative costs reveal that the Pearl of Africa country has many administrative units, 45,000 local councils, 5,500 parishes, 1,026 sub-counties, 151 counties, 18 municipalities, and 112 districts. All these structures have 10-man executive officials. Therefore, The total sum of officials is 10 times the number of administrative units.
For us as KASITA, we have already pushed in different fora where we have met these administrators and legislators that look here. For us, we are not even in support of increasing the districts, increasing the constituencies, and our worry was again the administrative expenditure, which is so huge and which doesn't actually contribute to production. Because as we go into this integration like a ESC, sincerely we are not going to market our members of parliament. We are going to market products. Yes. And if we are producing nothing and we are spending on administration, again, we feel it's very, very, very dangerous.
Away from these kind of administrative costs and the likely effects it causes, a comparative analysis on what Uganda spends on its parliament is more than what India spends on its MPs, with a total population growth of 1.2 billion people as opposed to the 34 million Ugandans.
Of a country like India, which has about 1.1 billion people, being represented by 500 members of parliament. And if you juxtapose this one with Uganda, with 34 million people, being represented by 420 members of parliament. So what will these people be debating? And now, if you saw in the Friday Monitor, again the complaint was about the space where they can be accommodated. Yeah. There is a very big, they are now looking at a bigger budget of expanding the parliament where they can sit, and it is now another burden to the taxpayer. So if even where you are going to debate from is going to encroach on our tax bag, then why don't you actually contribute to this tax burden? And we feel it's very unfair, and if they have passed it, that is very bad.
To address these disparities in the salary structures in Uganda, in the new constitutional amendments to Parliament, government is proposing to introduce a salaries and remuneration board to rationalize pay in the public sector.
However, we are looking at a recommendation that why not have a remuneration committee which does work on, and these members of parliament, which should be completely independent, and the members of parliament should not be the ones determining, not even the members of parliament, but the rest of the civil society, the public servants. They should have a remuneration committee so that this unfairness which does exist should be got rid of. Because look at some complaints which have been forwarded by some lecturers from the university. Tells you, I teach somebody, he has just graduated, becomes a member of parliament, and he gets an earning which is about 10 times my earning. Does it mean that I'm a tenth of his contribution to the national economy? The answer is not. So a fair remuneration committee would answer this problem, and it would be the one which would in fact decide on this particular case whether we should pay, that is the members of parliament should pay the taxes on their earnings or not.
Timothy Sibasi, Television, Kampala.